If there's a reason that you feel drawn to that place, then it's for a reason and it's up to you to go explore there. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be? Chances are not Manchester. And so if you're wondering why I'm here, you wouldn't be alone. Every person I've met since I got here has said, why? Why move from the US to the UK? Or why move from Miami to Manchester? The weather's horrible here. And so in this video, I'm gonna give you some of the background into what brought me to this decision and why, some of the insights and the framework that I use to choose where to travel or live in the world. So if there's a decision that you've been struggling with, whether it's where to travel or live abroad or something else that other people just don't seem to get, then I hope that my tips in this video will help you out. So the first reason that I chose to move to Europe specifically is because I really miss the lifestyle here. I was living and traveling in Europe for years before the pandemic started, and in the 2.5 years that I was back in the United States, I really just missed everything about living in Europe. I missed the lifestyle, I missed the people, I missed the conversations that I had with people, I missed the quality of life, the pace of life, like the kind of slower pace of life, the lack of the rat race, the ability to kind of escape the narrative of politics and anger and a lot of the hate that's in the US right now. And also the food, like I missed having flavorful food, I missed having affordable food, and I really like going to the grocery store here and being able to spend 20 euro or 20 pounds for what I would spend $80 for in the United States. So the first thing was just wanting to come back to Europe because I really feel like I resonate more with this lifestyle than the status quo back in the US. And the second reason is because I can, and maybe you can too, whether you work remotely or you're retired or you live off passive income or something like that. We're living in a time of great mobility where you can basically go wherever you want as long as you have some source of income from the internet. And I have a lot of videos on my channel about how to find remote jobs, how to make money online, things like that. So I'll link to all of that in the video description, as well as interviews with other people about how they make money online. But I've been working remotely since around 2009. And so this is just the lifestyle that I'm used to, is being able to have the choice of where I want to live and work in the world. And I think it's just a really cool time to be alive with so much flexibility in travel visas and passports and digital nomad visas and other types of long stay permits that you can get in countries around the world. So once you have the ways and the means to be able to live this lifestyle, it's all about where to go and why. And what I like to do is just follow my natural intuition, and you'll notice that the places that you're interested will change a lot over the years. And the longer you're living location independently, or the more years that you have to be able to travel internationally, the more you'll start to notice your desires and likes and dislikes start to change. When I first started traveling, it was all about surfing, and I would just stay in $5 a night cabinas or couch surf, like literally couch surfing and regular surfing. And I would go to Puerto Rico, California, Baja, Mexico, Hawaii, anywhere that there were waves. But as I got older and my interests started to change, it was less about surfing and more about exploring and learning about the world and learning about myself and learning about history and culture. And so I started to really open up to different types of places that I wouldn't have traveled before when I was a competitive surfer. So fast forward 20 years and the things that are important to me now are a lot different, and it will be that way with you as well. One thing that you might relate to is being curious about where you come from, and I know that's definitely the case with me. I've taken DNA tests on Ancestry.com and also 23andMe, and I love poring over those results and seeing where my ancestors are from. And what I found in those DNA tests is that my family is primarily from England, Northern England, Scotland, and Ireland. And so this entire year to date, I've spent most of my time in Ireland and England, and this summer I hope to travel up to Scotland, just experiencing where my family members came from, doing some more research, and seeing what there is to do and see around here. And so I really like to keep a home base in a country that I'm interested in exploring, and I like to do that in a slow travel manner where I'll stay for 3 or 6 months in a country so I don't feel rushed, and be able to have that home base, get to know the people and the culture, and then be able to explore on the weekends and have just like a normal pace of life where you don't feel rushed like you have to do a different site or city in a different day. Another thing is that even though my family members are from here, I had never been here. I've been to London before, but I had never explored the north of England. And so that's something to think about too. Do you want to go back to a place that you've been before and get to know it on a deeper level? Or do you want to go someplace entirely new? Or maybe you always go somewhere new, and in your case, you might want to go back to somewhere you've already been and see it with fresh eyes and a fresh perspective. So at the moment, this was what I was in the mood for, to kind of explore new lands, and also because it is a great time of year. Which brings me to seasonality. Deciding when to go somewhere is just as important as where to go. You wouldn't necessarily want to go to Costa Rica during the beginning of the rainy season, especially in the rainiest months of September and October, but you might also not want to go there during the holidays or during Easter, which is the most crowded and the most expensive. So something that I like to do is travel places during the shoulder season, which can be the spring and the fall in Europe. I typically come here in the fall, and so this is my first time spending an extended amount of time here in the spring and summer, and it also coincides with the much better, sunnier and warmer weather in the north of England and Scotland, and also the longer days. It doesn't get dark here until 10 p.m. in the summer, and so the days are longer, the days are warmer, and it just gives you a lot more time and flexibility to go around and see the sights. Another thing to consider is if you can visit a country and how long you can stay there. Can you go with just your passport? Do you need to apply for a visa? You can find this information through your consulate or State Department, Department of Foreign Affairs. You can also check online with a website like Visa HQ. This was a big factor for me in deciding to come to the UK, because with a US passport, I can stay here for up to 180 days per year. So that's a lot longer than certain countries which might have a restriction of 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days. And I do plan to spend a lot of my time this year in Europe and in the Schengen zone, and so there's no way that I'll reach the 180-day max this year in the UK, but I can keep a long-term rental property here and then travel with just a backpack or carry-on only to other countries in the region. Another thing that really attracts me to Europe is the time zone, which allows you to get all of your work done in the morning before most people wake up over in North and South America. And so I really like this lifestyle of being able to work first and then enjoy the rest of the day before lots of phone calls, emails, and other interruptions. So that is something that definitely weighed in on my decision to come here. Something I've talked about and written about a lot in my book, Digital Nomads for Dummies, is your ability to associate a new destination with a fresh start in life. So this could be as simple as choosing anywhere to go in the world and just kind of wanting to get that fresh start effect, but you can also choose a specific location to form new habits. Like maybe you want to eat better, maybe you want to start spending more time outside and doing exercise and outdoor activities, you can actually choose a location that will support those goals rather than detract from them. So if you find yourself up in Canada in the winter and it's freezing and you don't want to go outside and you're getting like seasonal affective disorder and things like that, then that's why so many people go south for the winter, right? But now it's not just retirees, it's people who work remotely, where you can actually link your destination to a professional goal that you have, to a hobby or an interest that you have, to a health or a personal goal. So if you wanted to go somewhere where you had better access to fresh and organic food, you can move somewhere like Costa Rica or Bali. If you wanted to go somewhere where you wanted to learn how to surf, you can move to Maui or Brazil. And if you wanted to attend some conferences and events in different countries, you can do that as well. I interviewed a girl on my podcast who was in Lisbon, Portugal for a web summit and to hold some in-person events, and decided to just stay in Portugal for a while. So you can actually choose a destination based on an interest that you have or some other type of goal. And so that is one of the reasons why I came to Manchester specifically. Besides that, I had never been here before. The weather is great right now. I wanted to explore this entire region. One of my hobbies is music production and DJing, and Manchester has a really cool music culture, a lot of the music that I like, and so I wanted to really immerse myself in this area, also do some local DJing, study music production on the weekends, and be able to really integrate my remote work life with my love of travel, with helping to support my hobbies. And so I'm basically living my best life right now, at least for 2023, where I can work here from home. I can walk across the street to the grocery store and get really healthy, affordable food. The people are super nice here, like all of my neighbors, everyone that I've met. And then I can just ride my bike 10 minutes down the street to go to my music production classes one day per week. And so it's also a very safe area, and it's kind of like ticking all of those boxes that I was currently looking for in a destination. And there's also a great international airport here. I can take the train throughout the country, but I can also fly around Europe and the region and get those really affordable flights that you can't get from the other side of the pond. So those were some things that I took into consideration as well. This is a strategy that you can use if you want to learn a language, going to a country where they speak that language and you can really immerse yourself in the culture. Or maybe you're just really a big fan of skiing and so you want to go to the Swiss Alps in the winter to go skiing. Think about what you like to do and where would there be a geographical location on the planet that supports those goals. And it's important to note that it doesn't have to be outside of your home country or even your city or state. It really depends on what those goals are. For me, it's studying music production in Manchester, and for you, it might be studying art history in Florence. And if you've ever read any of Steven Pressfield's books, like The War of Art and Turning Pro, he talks about this in the context of your career. So if you wanted to make it on Broadway, you would move to New York, or make it in the movie business, you'd go to Hollywood or LA. But this really extends to any career path that you have. You want to be able to surround yourself with like-minded people and people who have the same interests and goals. This is kind of like creating a mastermind effect. The options are really unlimited. It's up to you and your imagination of where you want to go and what you want to do. Another reason I came here, which might seem counterintuitive, is that it's not a very popular expat or digital nomad destination. And since the pandemic especially, and with the explosion of remote work over the past 10 years, there's also been an increase in digital nomad communities and hubs, which I love. They're all over the world. They're in Bali, in Chiang Mai, Thailand, in Buenos Aires, in Portugal. Throughout the world, you'll find these small villages, communities, cities where there's a large expat or digital nomad population. And although I love my people and I love love being a part of this community. I also like to balance out all of that with also some solo travel and alone time and going places that really remind me of being a foreigner in a foreign land. And being here in Manchester, I'm definitely the only non-local person in my community, whereas these days it can actually be easy to feel like you haven't left your home country if you're surrounded by a bubble of other people from your country in a foreign country. It's really good to connect with other expats and digital nomads and global citizens because you have that in common, and there's this community now that you can travel around the world together and meet up in other places. But there's also something to be said for going back to the roots of travel and adapting to these local places as an outsider and having that experience as well. I have not heard a single American accent in the first month that I've been here, and the people that live in my neighborhood have been here, some of them for 83 years. So it is really fun to meet people and they say like, you know, why are you here? And they've actually never met anyone from the US who was living in their neighborhood. And so I find that to be a really fun and significant to form these deep connections with locals and remind myself that I am a visitor here and not just staying in my comfort zone within the digital nomad community. Of starting out your travel or location independence journey in a group or in a place where you can get a lot of support from other people who have been through the same things is really important. But it's also important to equal that out with going places that are kind of off the beaten path. So don't be afraid to go somewhere that you don't know anyone else there or you don't know anyone who's ever been there. If there's a reason that you feel drawn to that place, then it's for a reason and it's up to you to go explore there. I'll be sharing a lot of my experiences and travel videos with you here from England, so I hope you'll join me for the journey. And if you're curious about why I left the US again to begin with, then you can watch that video here.